Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about the strategies of how to solve for Sudoku. If you, I guess, been playing Sudoku, then you can probably know that there are actually a lot of different techniques out there. So we're not going to be able to, unfortunately, go over every single one of them. And also it's because it'll be too overwhelming to learn everything so quickly. But what I want to introduce are three techniques that are very common that we can use for very simple structures of Sudoku. And as we go along, you can probably learn more difficult ones, but these are basically kind of like the building blocks. So here we have the first technique, which we'll go ahead and call the row, column, and box then. Okay. Now, some other places they might call it a bit differently, but the idea is pretty much the same. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to focus on this middle over here, this middle box, which I am going to kind of hopefully box so you can see. Now in that middle box, here's what you can probably notice then. You'll notice that the box right above it, right, there is a 5. So that tells me that vertically, everything from here to here, there's no 5 then as a result. And let me go ahead and use a different color. So then that way it might be a little bit easier to see. Okay, so let me repeat it one more time. For this column, because there is a 5, then that means that there shouldn't be any 5s anywhere vertically in this place. Now, similarly, there is a 5 located right here. So that tells me that there should not be any 5s horizontally anywhere over here. Now, going back to what we were talking about, which is this box in the middle, because all the 5s cannot exist vertically over here, nor can it exist horizontally over here, then that means that the only place the 5 can exist is going to be in that small little box in the upper right-hand corner. So we can go ahead and put the 5 in there then. So the idea here is you're going to eliminate the rows where a certain number can't be, or you can eliminate the row where a certain number cannot be vertically or horizontally, or maybe sometimes in a box then. Okay, so this one, very common use. Now the next one, this one's called single cell method, and the way it works is you're looking at a single box and what's happening horizontally around it and also vertically around it. So here you can see that the box that I'm looking at is right in the middle, and what we're going to do is we're going to focus on, again, what is happening horizontally and also what is happening vertically. So let me go ahead and kind of use a different highlight so you can see it a little bit better. So here we go, right here and also right here. Now, according to our rules of the Sudoku, anyways, here's what we can say. Note that vertically, there is already a 1, and there's also a 1 horizontally too. Okay, so let me go ahead and highlight those for you guys. So over here, you can see the 1. Then you also notice that there is a 2. Then you notice that there's a 3. There's a 4. Horizontally, there's a 5, and then there is a 6 vertically. 7 is missing, and then number 8 is over here, and also number 9 over here. So out of the 10 digits that we have, out of the 9 digits that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. So that tells me that the only number that can go into that one single box has to be a 7 then. So again, this is called a single cell method because you're looking at that single cell in which you have horizontally and vertically. Now, this method is a little time consuming because, well, you can see how it works. You have to look everywhere horizontal and vertical to the box. But it actually can be kind of helpful at the very beginning method. What is most likely going to happen is when you do the single cell method, you might not be able to eliminate all of your process. You might not be able to eliminate all of your numbers. So for example, let's say that I'm going to go ahead and pick this cell right here and use the single cell method. Here's what I can say about it. And let me go ahead and draw like a bigger box up here so you can see how it works. Now, again, we're going to look at what's happening horizontally and what is happening vertically. So in there, here's what I notice. I notice that there is a 1. I notice that there is a 2. I notice that the 3 is not there, so that means that it could possibly be a 3. So I'm going to write on the upper right-hand corner a 3. And then I notice that a 4 could also be a possibility because it's not in there horizontally or vertically either. I notice that there is a 5, so that means the number cannot be used right there. I noticed that 6 is neither in those horizontal or vertical, so that means it could be a 6 then. It cannot be a 7 because you can see it over here vertically. you can see an 8, and then you can see a 9. So you can see again what we're talking about for the single cell method. What I did was I eliminated all the numbers that cannot be in that single cell, and that could actually be proved to be potentially useful in the future. So sometimes it actually might be worth it just to see what could possibly not be there, even though you can't solve that number then. Okay, so here's the last method. This one's called ghosting, and this one actually is kind of new to me, so I'm kind of excited to try to see if I can use it in some of my puzzles. So here we go then. Here for ghosting, it's kind of like a combination of the two methods that we just used earlier, right? So here's what I'm saying then. So let's first focus on the column over here. You'll notice that you have the two red boxes, and then over here for this row, you also have these two boxes now. And here's what I'm going to consider. Okay, I'm going to consider the number 2, which is, kind of a little random, and maybe you can actually kind of figure that out in a little bit as to why I chose this number 2. Here's what I'm claiming for this method called ghosting. In this column right here, okay, in this column over here, according to the rules of Sudoku, there has to be a 2. And then in this row right here, there also has to be a 2 because 2 is missing from both the rows and also from the column. So that means that in this box right here, in the lower left-hand corner, I've eliminated the 2 somewhere in there, vertically and also the horizontally. Now, just going a little bit further, if you notice that there is a 2 right here, so that means that there cannot be a 2 anywhere vertically also over here. And finally, there's a 2 right here, so that means that there cannot be a 2 anywhere horizontally over here. So the conclusion is this green circle over here has to be a 2 then. So again, this method is called ghosting, which basically says that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and eliminate 2 according to what's kind of like around it, claiming that because I have like a certain number, then that means horizontally and vertically, I cannot contain those numbers then. Okay. So hopefully you guys can try these methods out, see how it goes, and the more you use them as a tool, the more familiar you'll become. All right, so I will talk to you next time. Have a good one.